Are you the type of person who jumps in the moment you sense a little bit of discomfort in someone to take care of the situation, or always overextending yourself? And if you find that you feel resentful, you feel unappreciated, and you feel drained at the end of the day, this could be related to caretaking versus caregiving. And today we're going to talk all about it. Welcome to the SheSacral Podcast, where we talk all about how burnout impacts women's bodies. If you're new, I'm your host, Lindsey Christian, burnout recovery guide and holistic hormone coach for women. What is the difference between caretaking and caregiving? Because a lot of times we can use those two words interchangeably, but they actually are very different. And I'll even share my story on how I kind of broke this cycle within myself, quite honestly, today. So I will share that realization with you in just a little bit, but I want to focus on you first. Caregiving is when we are enjoying the care that we are giving, okay? Everything is coming from a choice of how we show our affection, how we show our care, how we show our love to those that are close to us or those that we want to support. You are enjoying seeing that other being or person's enjoyment off of what you gave them. You put a lot of thought into those things and it feels really good, right? And usually it comes from when your cup and your heart is so full, you can't even contain the love anymore and you just want to share it. That always feels so nice. But there is an imbalance to it. When we do this too much, when it's demanded of us, when we are constantly holding our finger on the care button, it can move into a different type of energy, which is caretaking. Fear is going to drive our reaction to care. Maybe we're afraid that if we don't show that care, that we're not going to be as accepted or loved, or maybe we're trying to avoid something by showing the care, right? Either way, it's not really coming from a space in the heart. It's coming from a fear space that we're trying to almost regulate the situations before they escalate, or trying to de-escalate situations. Sometimes we get so used to playing that role, especially if you were conditioned that way as a kid, where you were needing to be there for someone all the time and someone was dependent on you, or you were the older sibling and you had to take care of your sibling and it was kind of forced on you, or you had to take care of your parents at a really young age, even if that was for emotional stability, because hey, life gets stressful and sometimes parents can't depend on their children and that can happen that way. And so sometimes it just simply becomes autopilot. Now, here was my problem, because I would read all these books and I would listen to all these podcasts and I would talk to all these mentors and coaches and healers. And without a doubt, they'd always say, you're overgiving, you're trying to take care of too many things, or blah, blah, blah. And for me, I just couldn't see it. To me, I felt like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm the only one caring for some things. And if I don't care, things are going to fall apart, right? I have to take care of the things that I love. What's wrong with caring? And it made me feel like, well, I guess I'm supposed to just be selfish. Have you ever thought that to yourself, where somebody's like, stop caring so much, set better boundaries? And it's like, well, I just feel like a mean person when I do those things. So sometimes we can fall into that caretaking trap and not even realize we're actually trapped. So that's a little difference between caretaking and caregiving. It's simply one is stemming from choice and one is stemming from fear. Now, a lot of times we can think that caregiving and caretaking are personality traits, but actually they're not. They're states of being. So when we care for something, we're taking action. While we can have the traits that would lead us to caring, like empathy, emotional intelligence, those are typically more traits, or technically they can be a little bit more biological, especially if we go deeper into hormones and our brains and all of that good stuff. But the act of caring is not. It's something that you do. And how you do it depends on the state that your body is in. So let's kind of compare this to driving a car. Driving itself is not who you are, it's something you do. But how you drive changes based on how you feel. So let's say you're in a caregiving state. You're alert, you're not tense, you have fuel in the tank, you can respond to the road, you know when to pull over. But when you're in a caretaking state, it's kind of like you're driving on empty. You are white knuckling the wheel, you're holding on tight, you're nervous, you're, looking side to side, afraid someone's going to come into your lane. You don't even notice how exhausted you are, and you keep going because you have to get somewhere. So the action is driving, but how you're driving and the state that you're in is completely different. So when we are doing the caretaking, it's the equivalent of kind of holding onto the wheel and getting past stuff. Here's the other challenging part with caretaking and caregiving. When you do something so frequently, it can simply become autopilot. And that's just pure survival for the brain, because the brain does not like to constantly try and think of new things all of the time. It wants to automate things as much as humanly possible because it's got a lot of things to do, right? Your brain's got to keep you alive. It's got to take in your environment. It's got to think. It has memory. It has to regulate your whole nervous system. So to take the approach of trying to do something new or different every single time you do it in the way that the brain is designed, it's going to say, we're doing it so much, we're just going to do this all the time. And we're not even going to have to think about it, which is great, right? Yeah, but sometimes it's not so great. And that's what happens when we are in that space of always taking care of someone. And then it does become a part of our identity. And therefore, we can't even recognize that we're in that space. And it can be really hard to break, especially when that has been placed on you as a child. And then as you've gotten older or you're put in other situations. And then the other part about it is there's just so many other beliefs that pour into that reconfirm for you to be the caretaker. Especially when we've been raised, hey, you got to be a good person. You need to treat others as you would want to be treated. Don't be selfish. Always give. Always serve others because sacrifice is honorable and that's what you do. And so when that's been ingrained in you, it just forces you to create this caretaking state for yourself. But sometimes it's not appropriate. When it becomes an imbalance, that's when we actually become derailed from our destiny. We're supposed to move. We're supposed to have opportunities come towards us. We're supposed to be respected and we're supposed to respect others, and things are supposed to flow. There's supposed to be this natural flow that happens with our energy. But when we notice that we keep hitting walls, we're not getting anywhere. We're being disrespected, right? We are putting in a lot of effort, but we're not seeing the return. That's when our energy is so out of balance that now we've got that kink in the hose. For me, I did not realize this literally until today, the day of me recording this episode for you. And it was completely by accident. I was actually cleaning out my Google Drive, which has all of my videos and photos backed up. And I'm going through and I'm like, oh, what is this video? Well, I came across this old video that I took when I went on a little girl's trip with, to be honest, people I really didn't even know that well. But one of my friends was the main person going. And so I went. Well, on that trip, the energy just kind of turned. It kind of shifted quite a bit. And a part of that itinerary was for all of us to have massages. We're supposed to have, a team of masseuses come and give us all massages and everything, but everything started to go awry. The masseuse kept pushing the time. They were late. It had been now 2-3 hours. People are now reacting. They're getting angry. Everyone's getting upset. It just had gotten really dramatic to where I felt uncomfortable in that situation, but I just kind of managed it the best way that I could. And I was just kind of like that peaceful mediator, like, okay. And at one point I caught myself on this video where I had literally said, "Don't worry, everybody, I'll give you all massages." I literally said that, and it was like a group of 6 women, including myself. And I'm like, "I'll give you all massages, so we're all good." Why the hell would I say that? And I know that I said it more than once. And I just, I was just kind of dumbfounded at listening to myself say that. That it was just so autopiloted in me that I did not even realize that I had even... I know I remember saying that, but in the moment of me saying that, I was just trying to manage the outcome. I just wanted the energy to go down. I just wanted to create a level of peace. But truthfully, there was something going on much deeper on that trip that had nothing to do with me. That everyone has these suppressed emotions and all these other things happening that is creating a chaotic experience that had nothing to do with me. But I was trying to reduce the intensity of that energy because I'm very empathic. That was kind of my way of saying, hey, if I could stabilize the energy, then I can feel stable. And so because now I have awareness, and awareness is one of the most powerful things you could ever give to yourself, I'm able to now change it. When we're not aware, we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it because we don't realize we're doing it. When it becomes that frequent, you are not even having conscious effort to even have to think about saying or doing whatever you're doing to care for the situation, to try to make everybody feel okay, when really everyone is completely responsible for how they feel. And again, a lot of times there is so much suppression that is going on with other people that has nothing to do with the immediate environment or situation that you're in that moment. So even if you try your hardest to put in all that effort to try to balance out the situation or create stability or try to calm everybody down, you can't do it because it's not about that situation. Even if people are upset, right? Like things aren't going well. People are so much like kind of at this like major capacity level of what they can really manage that people are really just trying to get by. So when little things start falling apart and you just get caught up in that storm, it is impossible to try to take care of that. They're dealing with all these other things that you simply can never do anything about because that is not your life to live. That is their life. And even though in that moment, I didn't feel afraid, or I didn't think that I felt afraid, I didn't think that I was feeling like, oh no, I have to fix the situation. Like that's not what's going through my mind, but that's what was going through my body. That's what was going through my subconscious mind. I felt responsible for how people manage their emotions. And when you take that a lot deeper, you will always find the root of what created that for you. So now that I've shared my story, maybe if this resonates with you, definitely leave a comment down below because I know someone out there has experienced this. Now, I know how challenging it is to really see your capacity level. right? So to help us kind of figure that out, I actually created a game for you called the Capacity Cup. It's super quick, but it's super fun. And I even give you a little free gift at the end. So if you want to test your capacity level, then click the link down below and see what score you get. For some of you, you might be thinking, this sounds great. And I get that. But something has happened recently where I have to take care of someone. This isn't really a choice, right? Maybe my partner is dealing with postpartum or really sick or struggling, or I have an aging parent or a grandparent, or even my pets are needing a little extra care right now. And I just feel so trapped. And honestly, a lot of times this is a silent killer because a lot of people are feeling guilty, feeling resentful. They are feeling emotions that they don't feel they are allowed to feel because you are in this mode of having to take care of someone that is dependent on you. And that is tough. That is really tough. So sometimes we don't have that luxury of just not caring, right? So if you're wanting to know how to navigate that, I will be talking about that episode coming up next. So definitely stay tuned for that as well. All right, well, we talked a lot about caretaking and caregiving today. Hopefully now we're a little bit more aware of the difference. I want you to thank yourself for showing up today. Seriously, you're doing amazing, even if you don't feel like it. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in to the SheSacral Podcast.